Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. I'm so glad you're here. Now I have got this box here. This is actually my card kit from Love from Lizi. This is my February card kit of the month from Love from Lizi. And I'm just using a little craft knife there to get it open. And I struggled with getting this open. So I kind of brought my tweezers back in and poked at it to get it open. Now, Lizi always packs her kits full of so much fun. Now, this is an add-on. This is actually a fun fold card die. I haven't learned how to use it yet, but I ordered it. And then we have some of the add-ons as well. So I'm just going to show you the die here real quick. I selected this and had her add it to my kit. And so we're not going to work with it on today's video, but we will in an upcoming video. But you can make some fun fold cards with this. And I actually need to watch the video to figure out how to use it. So we'll just lay those aside. And then we've got the add-ons that you can add onto the kit. I'll lay those aside and we'll look at the kit contents first. And then we'll come back and look at the pieces that you can add on to your kit that Lizi has created to kind of coordinate with the kit. So I like to first pull out my cardstock, and this is just American Standard size, 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and it's good heavy cardstock. And I'm just going to fan them out so that you can see the colors. We've got the white alcohol safe, then we have the yellow, the blue, the purple, and then the pink, and that is what is included in this kit. And it coordinates very nicely with the Baked with Love 6x6 single-sided pattern paper. And we've got a floral design here. And it's real pretty. We're going to work with this one. We're actually going to work with this one as well. This has got like your cake piping and your whisk and your roller. And then we've got a bunch of cakes on a bunch of cake stands with some pink background. And it's just really cute. And then we've got it in the blue background, just more cakes. And then we've got a small little pink pattern paper that has a bunch of little cupcakes on it, and it's super cute as well. And there's like a little, almost like a milkshake on there. Then we've got some of our little cooks, and we've got some yellow, and you've got the mixer on these. Here's some more cupcakes and some more sodas, and we've got it in the darker blue. We've got a yellow cake pattern paper, and then we've got the white that has the mixer and the apron, super cute. And then we've got another teal. And those are the pieces of 6x6 pattern paper that are included with the kit. And then in addition to that, we have got the stamp set that coordinates with it. And the stamp set has got lots of fun images on it. You've got the, we've got 3 sentiments: a happy birthday, sweet as can be. We've got a scale, a mixer, a cake stand, and we've also got a whole bunch of ephemera. So I'll pull some of the ephemera out, but there is a lot of it. I'm just going to kind of pan through some of them. But you have, like the little cook with her little apron. You've got a rolling pin. You've actually got, it looks like a pie and a cupcakes on a cupcake stand, cupcakes. We've got a scale. We've got a little macaroon or macaron, whatever you want to call it. There's our little scale. We've got some floral elements. We've got a rubber spatula. Here's a little jar with, I don't know, some little cherries or something in it. And a whisk. Just lots of cooking things. There's a tier stand. And here's our mixer. And our little piping bag. And just fun stuff. So there is a lot of that included in there. This is just a real fun little kind of a cooking set that you could use for birthday parties with birthday cake and a birthday cinnamon, or however you should choose to use it. And we're going to get all this put back in there, and then I'm going to show you the elements that are in the kind of the little charm bag. All the little in the miniature bag there has all of the fun little elements. So this is the die set that comes with it. You've got an oven mitt and a whisk and spatulas and an apron and just all kinds of pieces there. It looks like a pasta strainer and just lots of fun cooking utensils. And then we've got the pill-off hearts in a purple And those are in the kit. And then we have the miniature bag that has all of the charms, all of the fun bits and pieces. There is a strip of stickers. You could use these to seal up your envelope or use them to adorn your card, whatever you want to choose. And then we've got a bunch of little cake charms, and these are so cute. They're like little cupcakes, and they're super cute. And then in addition to that, we've got some wooden cupcakes, and there are I don't know, 3 or 4 of those in there you can use for wooden pieces. And then we've got our little bag of trim and lace. And you've got several strips of trim and some white bows. There are several white bows in there. I think 3. And then you've got a black trim, a white trim, kind of a pink trim. And then you've got this real pretty, this is actually, looks kind of a real light pale purple. And it's got little hearts on it, little piece of lace. And then we've got all of these little metal charms. We've got cupcakes, different kinds. We've got a little spatula there that is super cute, and a couple more cupcakes. And we've got a little teapot, a couple little teapots, just some super cute little charms that you can add to your cards. Now I hope you'll stay with me because we are going to make a double fun fold card. I found this on Pinterest from one of the Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. I'll try to put her name in the description box below. I have followed her before. Now these are the add-on pill-offs. You've got the variety and then the regular pill-offs that you can add on to your kit. And Lizi has curated them to match the kit. And this is the specialty cardstock that she has chosen that match with the kit as well. So you can use that as well. We are just barely going to scrape the surface of the elements on this card for the unboxing. I just wanted to do one card and show you the contents of the kit. Now these are the 3 pieces of pattern paper we're going to work with, and we are going to work with the blue sheet that was included in the kit. It's good heavy cardstock. We're going to be making a top folding card base out of this, so we're just cutting it at 4 1/4, and we're going to score it at 5 1/2. And then we're going to have lots of cutting and lots of measurements on this because we are going to have a double flap fun fold card is what we're going to have. So I'm just folding over. Right now we've just got an A2 size top folding card base. But I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and we are going to cut off 2 3/4 inch off the top of this card base. And we're going to keep this. We're going to lay it aside because it is part of our card. It's going to layer up on here like this. And then we're going to bring the other half of that paper in, and we're going to cut this to 3 1/4 by 10. So I've got my 3 1/4. I'm going to cut it to 10. And then we're going to score it at 5. And this is going to go on the inside of our card, and it's going to be one of our extra flaps. So we'll get it pressed on there. And it's going to lay inside here like this. And then this piece is going to lay on top. And that's basically the elements of our card base. Now we're going to bring in our pattern paper. And for this piece, this is going to be that very top flap, the part that where we, the top of our card where we cut it and made it shorter. And I am going to cut this to 2 1/2 by 4 1/8. And so I'm just lining it up there. And then this will fit on the top of our card base right like this. I'm going to position it on there, and then I decide go ahead and glue this down so that you don't mix up your cuts, and you'll know exactly where everything goes. So I'm going to give my card base a good score, and we're just going to get this laid down on there, and then we'll begin building the rest of the elements of our card. So we've got that. And then this piece here, this is the piece we cut off. It's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And we're going to work with it now. For this, we're going to bring in a 2 5/8 by 4 1/8 panel. And we're going to layer it on top of our blue panel. And it's going to go on there like this. And then we're going to grab our second piece of pattern paper, and we're going to use 2.5 by 4. So I'm going to cut this down to 2.5 by 4. And I am paying attention if I have directional paper. I think this particular one could go either way, but I am going to go in this direction. So 2.5 by 4. And then we're going to layer this piece on top of our 2 5/8 by 4 1/8 white panel that we just laid down on there. And we'll just get it lined up very nice. Just giving it a good press, and it's going to go on here. Now I'm going to wait to glue that down because I want to get this inside fold done, and that way I can line everything up very nice and neatly. So we're going to bring in a 3 1/8 by 4 7/8 white panel, and we're going to have 2 of these, one for the front and one for the inside. Now you can emboss the one on this front side and really add some detail. I didn't do that because I'm going to use some of my peel-off strips, and I wanted them to be able to lay flat on there. So here's our second one. It's 3 1/8 by 4 7/8. And we're going to lay it on the inside of this card. This is a smaller card that's going to lay on the inside of our card base. And so it's going to go inside like that. But before we get started, we need to cut the piece that's going to go inside of our card base, the very bottom of it. And we're going to cut this one to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then this is just going to lay on the inside of our blue, and then we'll put our inside card on top of this. So I'm just going to get some glue on here and get it laid down. Try and get it lined up to where we have a nice frame all the way around it. And then we're going to put this card on the inside and then this on the top. And we'll be ready to bring in our ephemera to decorate our card. So I'll get this glued up, and I'm going to try and get it centered with a nice frame all the way around it. Just give it a good press. And then we're going to line this one up to where we have a nice frame around it with our white panel that is below. So you're just going to put glue on the top half of it because you don't want to glue it shut. And then we'll lay it down there and get our nice white frame around the bottom part of that card. And now we have all of the elements of this double flip card. Super fun. And you can have a blast with the different pattern papers. You just decide which ones you want to use. I'm going to bring in these peel-off strips here, and I'm going to use the blue. I actually lay the pink and the blue down thinking I might use both of them, but I'll wind up using the blue is what we'll wind up using. And we've got our ephemera. So I just need to kind of go through my packet and figure out what I want to use. And I'm just going to audition several pieces. I really like the mixer. And I'll try this big cake stand. And we could have used it. Here's the measuring, the scales. We looked at the cake. I'm going to bring in the apron. So I'm just kind of, looking at it, trying to decide what I might use. I pull the flower out. I like this one. I think it looks nice. I'll lay it aside thinking I might use it. And then I think I come across another floral element that's bigger, and I'll wind up using that. This is a cake. Any of these would do. I just was trying to decide what I wanted to use. So I'm continuing to just flip through and get familiar with all the pieces that are in there. And here is a larger flower piece. And I decided to go with that because I've used that floral paper for the top of our card, and I think this looks really pretty with it. And so we're just going to get it laid down on there, and it just matches that pattern paper that we have there. Now we can decorate this, and this is where I'm going to bring in the peel-offs, and I'm using this, I don't know, teal colored peel-off, and I'm just going to layer it down on there. Now I could have put it on the white before I glued it down and cut it that way, but it is easy enough to trim up here right on the card base. And I've got one layer down, and I want to do a second, so I'm just going to kind of lay them next to each other and just kind of create a little border and a little shine and extra interest to this panel. and give it a good press. And then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to put the same thing on the inside of the panel as well. Now I'm looking for some ephemera that I might want to put on the inside of this, and I decided to go with the cake. This is going to be a birthday card, and I think we've got flowers, a cake, we're going to have a birthday sentiment, and some more ephemera. So I'm just going to bring another peel-off strip, and we're going to just do similar to what we did. I won't have them lined up. I think I won't have them spaced exactly like I did the first one, but we're going to come close to it, and it'll work out just fine. And we've just added just a little bit of extra interest to the inside of this. And the peel-offs give it a little bit of shine. And then I'm just going to look for another piece of ephemera that I might position on this panel, and leaving plenty of room for our sentiment or whatever we want to write inside of our card. So I've decided to use just a cupcake, and we're going to get it laid down on there. And so we'll get all of our mess cleaned up, and then we're going to need to add a sentiment. So I'm going to grab my stamp set. I've got this scrap that was cut off from this cardstock that we have. I'm going to grab my happy birthday sentiment that I have here, and I got to go grab my Misty and my ink, and then we'll get this stamped up, and we will be ready to put our sentiment on our card. So you can see my sticky mat on my Misty has been well used. We've got all kinds of different colors on there, and I have cleaned it multiple times, and I cannot get the ink and stuff off of it. I've used it for ink blending and coloring with markers and all different kinds of things, as well as stamping. So I really would like to get a new one. So I'm going to position that, and we're just going to bring in some teal ink and get this stamped up. I'm just using some Gina K Turquoise Sea ink, and we're just going to give it a couple presses. It's a real fine sentiment, but it stamps beautifully. I was really pleased with how beautifully it stamps. So we'll get that pulled off of there. I'm going to get it trimmed down, and then we'll get it laid down on the inside of our card. And I'll fuss with it quite a bit here. I'm measuring, and I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm measuring, then I'm flip it, and I'm thinking, I'll cut this much, and then I'm like, no. And so I'll make a couple cuts, and then I'll lay it on my card base and realize I need to cut it down even further because we've got those narrow panels, and so I don't want it to peek out behind those panels. So I'm still kind of like measuring, trying to figure it out, and then I just decided just eyeball it. That's what I normally do, and it comes out just fine. So I'm just going to eyeball it, and we're going to kind of audition it on here. And at first I thought, you can see I held it up to the width of that panel, and I thought it's too big, I've got to cut it down. And I originally thought I would put it on that first panel on the inside, and then I was thinking about putting it here, and then I thought, no, let's go ahead and put it on the inside. So we'll go ahead and get some glue. It'll take me a minute to find my glue, and then we'll get it laid down on the inside. I had been just piling up my pattern paper and stuff on the side and laid it all on top of my glue bottle there, so I couldn't find it, so it took me a minute. I had to pause and go get it and bring it back in. So we're just going to lay this happy birthday down on there. And we have got a super fun fold birthday card with lots of pattern paper and just a real interesting card. So I hope you like it. If you do, consider giving me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.